not here to show buildings. We are here to show economic advancement in agriculture.
President Buhari on two-day visit to Jigawa State inaugurates people-oriented projects.
African countries must come together to keep the issue of asset recovery and return on the front burner.
Partnering towards assets recovery and reform. That's the theme as heads of anti-corruption agencies in Africa converge on Abuja for a Commonwealth-driven conference. No more delays. Federal government cautions contractors handling infrastructure projects. Hello, welcome to NTN Network News. I'm Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Reading with me tonight is Jennifer Igwe in Lagos and Sadia Umar Farouk. Sadia Umar Sdigi is in Sokoto for us. Now, it was a remarkable moment for excitement and, of course, for the people of Jigawa State as President Muhammadu Buhari began a two-day official visit to the area. State House correspondent Adamu Samba reports on the ecstasy that greeted the president's arrival to the state that prides itself as the new world.
After arrival at Duse International Airport, where Governor Badaru, traditional rulers and supporters to give President Muhammadu Buhari a befitting welcome on arrival at Duse International Airport. It was the first visit by the Nigerian leader to Jigawa since coming to power, but for the people that gave him over 900,000 out of the 1.1 million votes cast in the 2015 elections, their massive show of support clearly indicates that they are indeed very well pleased with his leadership. And as the president arrives, Auyo to flag off the rehabilitation and expansion of the Hadejia Valley irrigation scheme, the joy of the people knows no bounds. The 9.4 billion naira World Bank assisted project is expected to increase about 6,000 hectares of irrigable land to the scheme being executed under the Transforming Irrigation Management in Nigeria, TRIMING. Key components of the intervention project includes the rehabilitation of gravity irrigation area, feeder canal, as well as the expansion of South Main Canal of about 33 kilometers length.
This is a very, very large fertile ground created by the flooded plains of River Hadejia. There is more than 25,000 hectares of land here that is suitable for irrigation. I can tell you that we have the funds now to finish this project. We are not going to be waiting for budgetary allocations.
Also in Hadejia senatorial zone, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated several infrastructural development projects executed by the Badaru administration. They are the 42-kilometer Tashegua-Guri Road, as well as the 32-kilometer Abunabo-Kadira-Guri Road, aimed at enhancing the socio-economic development of the area, especially the evacuation of the abundant agricultural products. Although the show of support, affection and goodwill for the president was overwhelming at all the project sites visited, the situation at the palace of the Emir of Hadejia, where the Nigerian leader called to pay respect, can best be described as aesthetic. Simply put, President Muhammadu Buhari is highly revered and indeed adored by the people of Hadejia, whose Emir, Adamu Abubakar Maje, reassured the president of their irrevocable commitment to his re-election bid in 2019. The Emir, however, made a case for the establishment of a tertiary institution by the federal government in the area, linking Hadejia with rail line, as well as the rehabilitation of the various trunk A roads in the zone. For President Muhammadu Buhari, it was an opportunity to say thank you to the people for their show of support and solidarity, promising that their trust and confidence in him will never be in vain. From Dutse, Jigawa State, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is being hosted to a banquet by the state government as we speak. Let's move on now to some other stories. Nigeria is soliciting the collaboration of African countries in its efforts towards assets recovery and repatriation of funds stashed in foreign countries through illicit financial flow. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, while declaring open the 8th Commonwealth Conference on Anti-Corruption Agencies in Africa, called for adequate funding of anti-corruption agencies. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
In a country where healthcare delivery, infrastructure such as housing, road and electricity, food security, education and other amenities are still major challenges, funds that could have made all these available are said to be stowed away in foreign countries through illicit financial flow. The same for most of African countries.
Africa has lost over $1 trillion.
Expressing the stand of the Buhari administration against corruption, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the wall must be pulled down through collaborate and cooperation of all countries.
It's important to underscore the fact that opacity in one section of the globe undermines openness in another. We need to break down these walls together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, African countries must come together to keep the issue of asset recovery and return on the front burner of international discourse. Continuing partnerships and collaboration cannot be overemphasized. I also urge our various governments to embrace the proactive sharing of information. We cannot afford to allow historical suspicions and cynicisms to undermine the very important work of fighting corruption and reversing its impact.
Patricia Scotland, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, expresses delight for the commitment of the Commonwealth member countries to tackle corruption and promises support in the fight.
And globally, we are facing a tsunami of corruption. In 2015, the UNODC estimated that the amount of money laundered globally each year is between 2 and 5% of the global domestic product, or between $800 billion and $200 trillion. It's estimated that corruption costs the African continent over $148 billion per annum.
Our anti-corruption agencies must be at the center of that struggle. Of the struggle to make sure that we retain within our continent the resources that we need to address, as I was saying, those socio-economic development challenges.
That conviction, which I share, has informed the unrestrained, unqualified support of Mr. President for every policy or action aimed at eliminating the cankerworm in our lives.
In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And participants at the heads of anti-corruption agencies in Commonwealth Africa will in the next days explore the possibility of a platform for sharing emerging practices and innovation in combating corruption for the promotion of good governance in the continent. Ali Tukuru reports.
Corruption is said to be Africa's biggest bane to development, with 21 of the continent's countries taking the rear seat as the most corrupt nations in the world, according to the 2018 rating by Transparency International, with more than $50 billion being lost to corruption annually in the continent. The Commonwealth African heads of anti-corruption agencies are working towards new strategies that will address the challenges of the anti-corruption fight, as well as evolve new ways of fighting the menace. With the team partnering towards assets recovery and return, the conference will also fashion out ways of scaling up international cooperation that will fast-track assets recovery and return to the respective countries.
We want to see, we want to review, we want to compare papers, we want to listen to each other. Then we will find a common ground to work together. It's a cross-border crimes. So we want to find a way where we can work speedily, we can share information, we can strive together, a kind of joint task force, we can work together, we can collocate together, and that will fasten all the process and procedure of law enforcement.
The way forward, make sure that you go back to the old belief and standard, not to be corrupt. You should not be corrupt. You should not corrupt me. I should not corrupt you. And love your country and make sure that whatever you are doing, in whatever you are, you make sure that you are doing it for the good of the country, not for your selfish end.
There was also exhibition showcasing people arrested and arraigned by the EFCC, as well as fake currencies recovered from suspects. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
The federal government says it will no longer entertain any flimsy excuse for delay in service delivery by contractors handling its infrastructure projects. The Minister of State One for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Baba Shehuri, gave the warning while on an inspection tour of federal projects under the ministry in the Northeast Zone. Works and Housing correspondent Mohammed Hamza Sheikh reports.
For years, those plying the Gombe-Numan and Numan-Jalingo roads have been going through nasty experiences due to the terrible nature of the roads. Vehicle breakdown, increased travel time, and reduced socio-economic activities are some of the problems being faced by travelers along those routes. Committed to changing the situation for the better, the Buhari administration pumped in a lot of money into infrastructure development to make life easier for the people. These roads are some of the roads that benefited from the government gesture in the Northeast sub-region, but could not get equal attention from contractors handling them.
It's a 46-kilometer contract, and they have not done a kilometer yet. It's 46-kilometer contract. And you see how people are suffering on this road. But in some places, it's 12 months a year that is rain and people walk. So it is not an excuse.
The minister said the present administration will not condone any unnecessary delays in the execution of its projects, as it is eager to deliver to the people. Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
Time now to pause for some messages. The news continues after this timeout.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) invites you to the official commissioning ceremony of its headquarters building by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. The event is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, 15th May 2018 at the EFCC complex on plot 301302, Institution Research Cadastral District, opposite National Open University Head Office, Jabi, Abuja, by 10 a.m. Please note that attendance is strictly by invitation. For inquiries, please call 0803 307 5659.
If you don't get money, hide your face. You can call me small doctor. ọmọ ìyá tíjà wọ́n ti gbá penalty lọ throwing.
The smartphone network.
This is to inform the general public that the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture is convening a special town hall meeting on the farmers' headers clashes. The event will take place as follows. Date, Thursday, 17th May 2018. Venue, Main Auditorium, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abuja. Time, 11 a.m. Please, you are cordially invited. Announcer, Deaconess Grace Isu Gekbe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiation, Stakeholder Sensitization and Consultation on the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area across the 6 geopolitical zones will be holding in the Northeast on the 15th of May 2018. Venue, Multipurpose Hall, Government House, Maiduguri, Borno State. Time, 9 a.m. North Central, 18th of May 2018. Venue, New Banquet Hall, State House, Makurdi, Benue State. Time, 9 a.m. For more information, visit www.notn.gov.ng.
The Director General and Chief Executive Officer, National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, Engineer Aliyu A. Aziz, on behalf of the board, management, and entire staff of the commission, wishes to express our sincere appreciation to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibanjo, SAN, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Honorable Ministers of Interior, Finance, Foreign Affairs, FCT, Niger Delta Affairs, Solid Minerals, Budget and National Planning, all state governors, permanent secretaries, director generals, chief executive officers of the public and private sectors, and our media partners who contributed towards the huge success recorded at this recently concluded ID for Africa conference hosted by NIMC. The conference has no doubt promoted Africa's quest at creating a credible, reliable, and harmonized identity system for continental development. We sincerely thank you all. Signed, Engineer Aliyu A. Aziz.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant to achieve our creed as we promise. We shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
You're watching NTN Network News. National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, John Odige Oyegun, says the successful conduct of governorship primary election in Ekiti State is the beginning of successes for the party ahead of the July 14th election in the state. Chief Oyegun was speaking while receiving the report of the Ekiti government primary election. Saliu Abdullahi has more.
That was the chairman of the Ekiti State Governorship Election Committee, Umaru Tanko Al-Makura, presenting the report to the leadership of the party. He encouraged all aspirants that participated in the exercise to extend the support and cooperation he received from them to the party.
The National Secretariat or the National Working Committee can set up an ad hoc committee where they can build peace, understanding, solidarity, and enhance the cohesion of the party to prepare for the task ahead.
While acknowledging the challenges during the exercise, the national chairman called on stakeholders to imbibe the spirit of sportsmanship and collectively work towards success.
Very serious work has already started to consolidate the victory that we scored in Ekiti through the outstanding performance that you put on.
He commended the show of gallantry by the aspirants in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The local government Congress of the All Progressives Congress in Eboni State has been adjudged a success with the massive turnout of delegates for the exercise. Neka Oko, who monitored the process in Onitsha Council area, reports that a 27-man executive committee emerged at the end of the exercise.
The Congress, which adopted option A4, produced Eze Malakai Eze as chairman, having pooled 344 votes, and Onyekachi Njoko as secretary. Speaking after the exercise, the Executive Director, Administration and Training, Nigerian Television Authority, Dr. Steve Egbu, and other party chieftains commended the peaceful and transparent conduct of the Congress and prayed the new executives not to disappoint the party.
We have done a very wonderful job, and I think if the success we have replicated here is also experienced in other areas of the country, APC is on the move.
The wishes of the people have been obeyed, and we are here to elect those who are very familiar with political terrain.
Other delegates to the Congress described the massive turnout of party faithful as a confirmation that APC is strong, formidable and repositioned to win the 2019 general elections.
We are united and we are going to work hard.
The exercise was monitored by officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and security agencies. In Abakaliki, Neka Oko, NTA News.
The Buhari administration's record of success in economic development in Rivers State has been attributed to the unity and prevailing peaceful atmosphere in the area created by the administration. The senator representing Rivers Southeast, Senator Magnus Abe, in a press briefing said it is a platform on which people in Rivers State should learn and exhibit true democratic conduct. Senator Abe also urged the government and people of Rivers State to consolidate on the success attained by the federal government in the state.
People should look at the facts on the ground and make informed decisions based on the actions of people and not based on rhetoric. I have done more to seek for peace in the APC, both in my conduct and in my language and in my actions.
National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that Senator Abe also implored party members to conduct their affairs with decorum in order to maintain the desired democracy in Rivers State and the country in general. Now, since insurgency has been identified as a major threat to the socio-economic development in West Africa in the past 10 years, most ECOWAS countries are deploying different strategies to combat it. Now, this came to the fore as members of parliament from West African sub-region presented their situation reports at a session presided over by Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Jeremy Johnson. Joseph O'Rourke reports.
Despite devoting 21% of its 2018 budget as against 17% the previous year to the fight against insecurity, the Republic of Niger says is still experiencing terrorist attacks, especially in the western parts of the country.
However, the President of the Republic's steadfast commitment to the security challenges makes our country a haven of peace, despite attacks and threats by terrorists and drug traffickers.
In Republic of Benin, security forces, notably the police and the gendarmerie, have been merged as Republican police to improve the fight against insecurity.
However, maritime security is ensured by the naval forces of the National Army, regularly supported by their French and American counterparts, to provide security for sea users.
The Togolese government, on the other hand, created and strengthened elite units within the security forces to enhance cooperation and exchange of information within ECOWAS countries in the fight against terrorism. For Guinea-Bissau, in spite of peace, the country wants ECOWAS to continue keeping its stabilization force, ECOMIP, until after November 2018 presidential elections.
After the presentations by the various representatives of the various countries, members of parliament took time to ask questions and to seek clarifications on various issues. In Abuja, Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Thank you, Joseph. The African continent is reported to have the second highest burden of tuberculosis in the world. Now, that is why the Pan-African Parliament Committee on Health has launched a caucus to specifically address the scourge of the disease in the continent. Ignatius Nko has more on this.
HIV, AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis, the three major diseases threatening the African continent. By 2020, approximately 1 billion new tuberculosis cases will be recorded, as released by the World Health Organization. The report states that every second, someone in the world is infected with tuberculosis, and nearly 2.7 million new cases are recorded annually in sub-Saharan Africa. Poised to remedy the situation, members of the Pan-African Parliament Committee on Health, Labour and Social Affairs resolved to give more attention to tuberculosis awareness, prevention and control.
There are so many things that are being done.
The launching of a parliamentary caucus on tuberculosis, which is expected to be replicated in all national parliaments across Africa, was a major step.
We need not to leave any stone unturned.
That the caucus should be elected as the other caucuses used and movement.
At this meeting, the legislators were not unaware of the easy spread of this disease through cross-border movement.
And the answer is simply, people move from one country to the other. They stop treatment.
The former president of the Pan-African Parliament, Betel Amadi, reminded African countries of the dangers of the increasing cases of tuberculosis, especially on the younger generation.
Most countries have not been able to implement the Abuja Declaration that agreed that 15% of our national budgets should go to health.
The major focus of this caucus is to increase awareness of prevention, control, and treatment of tuberculosis in any part of Africa. From the Pan-African Parliament in Johannesburg, South Africa, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
To ensure smooth cleanup exercise of the affected areas in Ogoniland, the House of Representatives Committee on Environment and Habitat held a meeting with the Ministry of Environment, Petroleum and representatives of multinational oil companies. House Committee Chairman on Environment and Habitat, Obinna Chidoka, and the member representing Ikwere Emoha in Rivers State, Chidi Wihioka, appealed to all the parties involved in the exercise to show commitment as President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sincere commitment for the realization of the project, while the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project Office has laid a solid foundation for the project to take off. More reports as we link up with Jennifer in Lagos. Jennifer, it's over to you.
Thank you, Joseph, and a warm welcome to Lagos. The preventive measures announced by the federal government to prevent the spread of Ebola to Nigeria has gone into effect at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Michael Olaleye, who was at the airport, reports that intense checking are ongoing.
Arriving passengers at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport going through a thermal scanner. It is one of the recent technologies introduced by the federal government as part of the measures to prevent the spread of Ebola to Nigeria. Health officials at the airport have been keeping an eagle eye as the incoming passengers go through the scanner, which records the body temperature.
If the alarm is raised based on the preset temperature, then the passenger will be asked to step aside Then the passenger will be brought to this secondary screening area where further assessments will be done. Part of the further assessment is that temperature check also will be done here using the digital thermometer and the infrared thermometer.
We have advised the portals to check all their thermal scanner and the infrared scanners to see that they are well calibrated and they are working.
The airport has also provided this isolation center where passengers that exhibit any symptoms of the dreaded Ebola will be kept.
Our washrooms have hand sanitizers. We have provided hand gloves for airport workers that come into contact with passengers.
Following reports of the outbreak of Ebola in Congo, the Nigerian government immediately announced preventive measures. The disease claimed a number of lives in Nigeria in 2014. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Anti-security, the Nigerian army officers, along with their colleagues in the paramilitary, have been analyzing current threats and conflict management strategies. This is at the 18th Annual Conflict Management Seminar organized by the Nigerian Army College of Logistics, Lagos. Mohammed Abdul Kadri reports.
The primary duty of any government globally is to guarantee the security of lives and property. So the military and the paramilitary in Nigeria have had their hands full with the numerous internal security threats in parts of the country.
We have issues of kidnapping, cattle rustling, herders, farmers, conflict, militancy in the Niger Delta, and the counter-insurgency operation in the northeast. And we need to build capacity with other security agencies.
The conflict management seminar with the theme Building Nigerian Army Capacity for Responsive Conflict Management is considered appropriate and timely.
This seminar tries to find out how has the Nigerian Army fared in terms of logistics for internal security operations.
I see my div performing much better, logistically, as far as the responsibilities of the staff officers who are attending this course is concerned.
The 3-day seminar is doing conflict and threat analysis as well as finding the way forward. As the 2019 general elections approach, the Chief of Army Staff charged commanders at all levels to remain apolitical as the service is exploring alternative approaches in its role in internal security operations and management in the country. In Lagos, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
Now, motoring public, especially those plying Lagos-Abeokuta expressway, will soon heave a sigh of relief as palliative measures to restore failed portions of the road has begun in earnest. This is because the federal government has flagged off the rehabilitation of the road, which has suffered neglect for about 2 decades.
One can only imagine the stress experienced by commuters on this road on a daily basis, not to mention the number of productive man-hours lost while in traffic build-up occasioned by potholes and the bad portions. Auto crashes on a regular basis is another serious concern to the federal government, which necessitated the urgent need to embark on the total rehabilitation of the 80-kilometer road from Ile-Zik in Lagos to Bruis in Ogun State at the cost of 22 billion naira.
The contractor has been directed to actually stabilize all those terrible areas that have critically failed.
Once it is constructed, once it's rehabilitated and open to traffic, put to traffic use, we expect most of the vehicles going towards Abeokuta to follow here.
Observers are of the view that this action, if extended with the reconstruction of link roads, will ease traffic along the corridor.
I say the government was doing better to repair the road because now the traffic is now moving.
We also advise the government to create a motor park for those vehicles because most of the vehicles normally park along the roadside.
The project, which was awarded to a leading construction firm, has a contract duration of 30 months, during which it is expected to create employment, improve connectivity, and reduce travel time. In Lagos, Dotun Ogmiemi, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. It's time for some messages. The news returns shortly with Joseph Johnson in Abuja. To stay with us.
Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem.
For the three
You are welcome, sir.
as usual, yeah?
You take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have. You don't have.
Join the rice revolution today.
No other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry? That's the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Mobu to come to chocolate rice of made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made.
Correct.
How they are cook it.
Correct.
Homegrown rice are good for your health. It will boost our economy and will give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
I live for my friends. I will always be there for them through everything, especially the big moments. That is why I'm happy with Alert savings goals. It helps me save more and meets my expectations. My name is Anita and I use Alert.
Alert, powered by Wema Bank.
All TVs say picture quality, but never mention the most important color, black. It uncovers the hidden details of nature, brings out the richness in all colors, and reveals life. With self-lighting pixels, only OLED TVs make perfect black, and perfect black creates perfect color. LG OLED TV.
Take a good look at our world today and you'll discover something interesting. More and more drivers are choosing mobile motor oils. You see, as engine performance becomes more important than ever, the vehicle owners are coming to expect more from their engine oils. They're demanding more mileage on a single oil change. They're demanding longer-lasting engines and smoother rides. They're demanding the best. And with Mobile, that's what they get. We raised the bar for motor oils with the Mobile Super 1000. And with the Mobile One, we raised it even higher. And because it's made using the most advanced engineering processes, Mobile motor oils leave your engine super clean, increase its durability, and keep it so well protected, it never stops running. So success for you depends on continuous movement. You need engine oil, engineered for that purpose. Mobile, performance at its best.
Make it mobile.
Sit-up Supreme Noodles, capturing the tasty goodness. It's the Sit-up Supreme chicken essence that gives it the truly delicious chicken taste. With real chicken essence. Be Supreme, Nigeria.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the daring and invincible Louis the Mosquito. Responsible for 200 malaria cases all on its own. Is there anything that can kill Louis? Morphine! Presenting Mortine's Power Guard. Its powerful formula kills malaria mosquitoes fast. So, get Mortine's Power Guard.
Let's talk business now. Counting the gains of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan as federal government holds open day for focus laboratories. For details, here is Vivian Idekbafo with Business News.
Hello and welcome to the Business News segment. The agreement between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates on the recovery of assets and cash stashed away in the UAE by Nigerians will take off next month. Nigeria on January 19, 2016 signed 6 agreements with the UAE following a state visit by President Muhammadu Buhari. The pact includes judicial agreements on extradition, transfer of sentenced persons, mutual legal assistance on criminal matters, and mutual legal assistance on criminal and commercial matters which involve the recovery and repatriation of stolen wealth. Meanwhile, the federal government will on Tuesday hold an open day to mark the end of the first phase of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan ERGP Focus Labs. The event will be flagged off by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and will be attended by the lead sector ministers involved in the first phase of the labs. Focus Labs are designed as a workshop-style closed-door investment for between private sector and senior government officials and serve as avenue for detailed discussions and interactions to address some of the bottlenecks and inhibitors of additional business investments in the economy. Now to the equities market, where the Nigerian Stock Exchange erased last week's gain with a 0.84% loss. The all-share index closed at 40,677.6 basis points. The financial services sector remains the most traded equities, with UBA taking the lead, followed by FCMB and Sovereign Insurance. Covington led the top gainers chart with a 4.98% gain, followed by Fitsin 2.04% and Cutix 3.28%. The losers table was led by Nestle, Okumu Oil and Nigerian Breweries. And that report concludes business news at this time. Now to the rest of the bulletin in just a moment.
Vivian Idekbefo there. The National Union of Road Transport Workers is taking measures to amend some sections of its constitution with a view to strengthening its electoral laws. The national president of the union, Najim Usman Yassin, disclosed these at the Special Delegates Conference of the union holding in Kaduna. Abdullahi Mohammed has the story.
A rousing welcome into the NURTW Luxury Hotel Conference Hall, where delegates of the union from across Nigeria converged for the conference. The national president of the union, Najim Usman Yassin, set the ball rolling, telling the delegate that amending the union's constitution has become imperative, considering the need to put a cap to the tenure of national officials and a robust representation.
We said nobody from the national down to branch that can serve more than 2 tenures. We have 6 geopolitical zones. 3 national offices will be zoned to these geopolitical zones, and the state council under those zones will sit down and bring out their representative that will come to the National Executive Council.
The Commission of Works, Transport and Housing represented the governor of Kaduna State at the conference.
The road transport workers are very important. If they are not satisfied, if they are not happy, if they are not well regulated, if they are not in collaboration with the ministry, then we will have difficulty.
This move by the national president of the Union of Road Transport Workers, many say, will concretize the many legacies he bequeaths to the union, including the NURTW Luxury Hotel, where the conference holds. In Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Nigeria and India are pooling resources to see how best to collaborate and cooperate in both countries' technology-driven economies. The Minister of Communication, Adebayo Shitu, said this will enable ICT experts of both countries to tap into the huge potential in the sector. Patricia Samiluba reports.
It is a fact, as evidenced by developments from other countries, that ICT as a sector can contribute immensely to the GDP of a nation, and acting as an enabler can also result in improved market competitiveness of a nation's products and services. Against this background, Nigeria and India are set to forge closer cooperation in determined efforts to accelerate growth in information and communication technology with a view to boosting their economies through greater penetration and use of advanced technologies and services. The Indian High Commissioner, Nagabhushna Reddy, said the 4th edition of Indo-Africa ICT Expo 2018 tends to engage African countries to promote use of ICTs in national economic development.
So we bring in both the major groups, major councils in India, one dealing with the telecom equipment and services, and the information technology related.
Minister of Communications Abdurrahim Adebayo Shitu commended the efforts of the organizers and assured them that facilities are being put in place for the success of the expo.
There are immense opportunities for small businesses and small cooperatives to pitch and partner with Indian corporations in order to expand their businesses.
The 2 days Indo-Africa ICT Expo 2018 has as theme, One World, One Platform. Let's talk about technology that transforms. In Abuja, Patricia A. Samiluba, NTA News.
Well, do stay with us here on NTN Network News as we join Sadia in Sokoto for the next set of reports. Hello, Sadia.
Joseph, welcome to Sokoto. National Boundary Commission is working out modalities to address boundary disputes between Sokoto and Zamfara states. To achieve this, a joint committee of the two states' interstate boundary committees was held in Sokoto. Muhammad Nasir has details.
In 1996, when Zamfara state was carved out from Sokoto state, there were some border issues between the two states that are yet to be addressed, despite several efforts to do so. The areas affected are Isa Shankapi and Tureta Bakura axis. The joint meeting of interstate border committees of the two states was convened by the National Boundary Commission to find lasting solution to these border disputes. Sokoto and Zamfara states Deputy Governors Ahmad Aliyu and Ibrahim Wakala, who led the boundary committees from the two states, noted with satisfaction the decision by the National Boundary Commission to delineate and demarcate the boundary between the two states for administrative convenience. Director General National Boundary Commission Muhammad Bose Ahmad, while appreciating the cooperation between the two states, said settling border disputes will facilitate take-up of the bilateral committee set up between the Hawa of Niger Republic and Sokoto Zamfara states under ECOWAS trans-border relation. After the joint meeting, the delegation was at Gaman House, Sokoto, where Governor Amin Waziri Tambol advised the commission to take advantage of the peaceful nature of border communities to resolve the existing issues, assuring of government commitment at implementing the resolution reached. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has called on Nigerians to desist from harboring sellers of cough syrup containing codeine and other illicit drugs in their localities. Sokoto State Coordinator of the agency, Hamis Yahaya, made the call while speaking to NTA News on their preparedness to effect the recent ban of syrup containing codeine in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Datti completes the report.
In recent times, there have been public outcry against abuse of syrup containing codeine, especially in northern Nigeria. This informed the decision of the federal government to ban the importation, sale, and consumption of syrup containing codeine. Available facts indicate that many Nigerian youths have been rendered useless by the drugs. However, with the recent ban of codeine, NTA News sought to know the readiness of NAFDAC in Sokoto towards combating the sale and consumption of syrup containing codeine. Sokoto State NAFDAC Coordinator Hamis Yahya said the agency is collaborating with other stakeholders to check the sale and consumption of syrup containing codeine and other illicit drugs.
We want to crave the indulgence and seek for advocacy from the community members and leaders to ensure they expose people or they don't harbor people that are there to expose their children to abuse, to substances of abuse.
On its part, Sokoto State government has on several occasions expressed its commitment to fight the sale and consumption of illicit drugs. This commitment further manifested itself during the official inauguration of a new rehabilitation center for drug addicts in Sokoto. With the ban of the syrup containing codeine, many believe that the government needs to do more to fight drug abuse so as to secure the future of Nigerian youths who are mostly being ravaged by the abuse. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
That's all from Sokoto. Back to Joseph in Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Sadia from our Sokoto Network Center there. A group which calls itself the Islamic Movement of Nigeria under the auspices of the Shiite movement this Monday was in rampage in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Ebola Brooklyn Sunday has the details.
For several hours, the protesters, after converging, marched round the federal secretariat, chanting "Free Zazaki Now" slogans, disrupting free flow of traffic. Within a twinkle of an eye, the protesters, brandishing weapons, turned violent and attacked the police. One of the police trucks was severely damaged, but the police personnel exhibited high sense of restraint in the face of the provocation.
It was in the process of clashing with the Nigerian police that the Shiite members destroyed this vehicle, shattered its windscreen and other parts.
The police then reinforced to restore order in the area, during which some of the protesters were arrested. This is the second time in recent time that the Shiite movement engaged in violent protests in the capital city. Ebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Quite an unsettling story there. Happenings in the world of sports after this break. Stay with us.
On Tuesday Live this week, our focus is checking the proliferation of small arms, plus party internal democracy in the polity. It promises to be incisive and educative. Tuesday Live, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Don't miss it.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain, fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
The Smartphone Network.
Dettol team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? No! They are spread through germs, which are everywhere. You collect germs that cause diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands and taking your bath with Dettol soap to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is bath, bath, bath yourself. Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands.
Now let's get to some of the other stories from around the globe with Obiageli Ugoke.
Hello and welcome.